The Undertaker stuffed his own turkey on the Tonight Show last night. And also, can the phrase getting hard on something be taken completely out of context? We're going to find out more on this week's NXT review, powered by Google Hangouts. Hey, YouTube, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it is time to work.
What's up, boys and girls? This is Lance White, and you are watching WGS-TV.
Greetings, YouTube. You have warped your way into another episode of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer. I am the WrestleGamer, Billy Boudreaux. Today is Thursday, November 12th, 2015. And we definitely, in addition to NXT that we have to talk about from last night, we also, I want to address something that happened on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon last night on NBC. There was a very comedic entertainment segment, like the audience suggestion box, I believe it's called, where someone sent in a suggestion saying that we should have the Undertaker from the WWE come out and tombstone a guy in a turkey outfit. And of course, Jimmy Fallon, of course, was going to play it along like, oh, it's too late to get in contact with Undertaker. Next thing you know, you hear the Undertaker's music, you see him come out, and apparently that was Brad Maddox in a turkey outfit. And he came out and basically just tombstoned Brad Maddox in the turkey suit. And apparently, for some odd reason, there are fans out there who are raising a big stink over a comedic entertainment spot on the Tonight Show. And the reason why I wanted to bring this up, because I never got a chance to kind of bring this up during another issue from people here on YouTube, is when Jimmy Kimmel started making comments about, how he doesn't understand why people watch other people's Let's Plays, gameplays, the Let's Players and the video game fans out there, and he started making jokes about it. And wrestling fans are starting to make that same kind of stink over what The Undertaker and Brad Maddox did on the Tonight Show as what video game fans did towards Jimmy Kimmel when he started making his kind of jokes about watching other people playing video games on YouTube. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, that I think everybody needs to take into account. What I need to say about this, guys and gals, is that what The Undertaker and Brad Maddox did last night was purely for entertainment and comedic purposes. There was nothing offensive about them being on the Tonight Show last night with Jimmy Fallon as Brad Maddox, dressed in a turkey suit, got tombstoned by The Undertaker. The hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, Rick Head, is here. Rick, why are some fans are making a stink about this? I don't know, because this was just basically a comedic sketch.
I'm going to tell you what it is. It's because for the longest time, Undertaker has not really come out of kayfabe. He's always had this mystical, dark character, and the fact that he did something totally funny, totally out of character. Fans, and I hate to say, these are the marks, the sheep, so to speak, who just can't get past that wrestling is what it is. It's entertainment. Is it fake? You can say it's scripted. We can say that the storylines are absolutely 100% fake. We know that those bumps are very, very real. But you know what? If you love wrestling, you got to see it for what it is. To try to pretend it's something that it's real and everything's real and these guys really hate each other. No, sorry, people, okay? It's just the internet wrestling community, most of them, I'll say are just fucking idiots. And over in the HWR chat room, we had several people commenting on it, and they all thought it was great. They thought it was funny. And those are the real fans who understand that, people have to come out of their show. On a personal note, I would like to see The Undertaker come out as Mark Calloway, especially when he gets inducted in the Hall of Fame. I want to see him just say, hey guys, how you doing? I want to thank you all for your years of support. Not come out with the whole, rest in peace and that whole gimmick, because I feel that's going to put a sham on him and what he's done for his career.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I definitely have to agree with that. But one thing we definitely want to say on here, guys, that there should be no ill will or hatred directed towards Jimmy Fallon, NBC, or The Tonight Show whatsoever. And if you actually think that you have a legitimate reason to hate Jimmy Fallon and The Tonight Show because of the Undertaker tombstoning Brad Maddox dressed in a turkey suit seemed offensive to you, then you seriously need to have your priorities rechecked. Okay? Again, this was a comedic entertainment sketch. Jimmy Fallon is probably, in my personal opinion, one of the funniest guys in late night. And it's one of the reasons why I watched The Tonight Show. It's because Jimmy Fallon is entertaining and funny. And the fact of the matter is that people are raising us think about this. I think, personally, it's kind of stupid. Because you're raising a stink over a comedy sketch on a late-night variety show.
You know what I personally would like to see, honestly? Is The Undertaker on Saturday Night Live. I would like to see him do a few sketches on Saturday Night Live. That would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would. But I think we dwelled enough about that on this one. Let's get to the main core topic of today, of this video rather, is the NXT review. We got a few matches to talk about. First off, excuse me, it was scheduled to be the perfect 10 Ty Dillinger taking on Baron Corbin, but the matchup never takes place because of the fact that Apollo Crews will come out to attack Baron Corbin before the matchup even starts. And this is something aside of Corbin that I think we've been waiting to see, because ever since Apollo Crews rather, this is a side of Crews, Rick, that we've been waiting to see for quite some time, because ever since Apollo Crews has debuted, he's always had a smile on his face. He was always happy, always looked like he was having a good time, and never had any kind of veracity or any type of anger displayed in this character. And I think that's one of the reasons why we needed to see something like that out of Apollo Crews, because he's always been the smiling, nice guy type of a gimmick. We've never seen him really angry and vicious towards anyone, and we kind of started to see a side of that with him against Baron Corbin last night.
Yeah, we did, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I've only seen very little of Apollo Crews, but what little I've seen, I've been very, very impressed with. It's guys like him and guys like Samoa Joe and James Storm, when he signs or if he signs, that these guys should be put right up to the top roster. WWE's going to look at them and say, you know what? Why are we wasting time on developing you guys when you're clearly developed? You clearly have it. NXT development should be just that, to develop wrestlers, to train them.
Yes, but also on the flip side of that, it wouldn't hurt to have more developed guys working with your developmental talent to help further along that development. I can't believe we said development so many times in the last minute or so.
Well, to get back on that, I mean, and this is a little bit off the subject, I suggested about a week and a half ago on the HWR show about how, they should have NXT for the third hour, and that way you could bring the other guys crossover. And a lot of people were disagreeing with me, that saying that it's going to water down the NXT brand, and I totally disagreed.
Well, I think the only way we can actually say that for certain is if WWE actually goes through with it. Right now that's just basically pure speculation.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. But let's quickly get back to the NXT review, because we got quite a few things to do today, especially here on the channel. Up next will be Bayley and the Hype Bros. For some reason, they look like a pair of giant condoms. I don't know why. Taking on Blake and Murphy and Alexa Bliss. First off, I'm going to say kudos to Murphy for taking the Bayley to belly from Bayley towards the end of the match. He did that superbly. So well done on that one, Murphy. Alexa Bliss would end up trying to steal the NXT women's championship and ended up running away, which then constituted what Bayley did to Murphy. And then, of course, with the Hype Bros, we get the finish with the version of the Hype Rider. Apparently, that's what it's called, on Murphy. So Bayley and the Hype Bros get the win. But like I said, Rick, hats off to Murphy for taking the Bayley to belly spot. Yeah,
I have to agree with you. And the Hype Bros, it just shows you really where Zack Ryder's career has gone. It's gone south. They had to bring him back into development because up in the roster, he was nothing but a jobber.
Yeah, and then now that he's back in a developmental type of a territory with NXT, it gives him a chance to try to reinvent his character, reinvent himself basically. And so far, I think working with Mojo Rawley as part of the tag team, the Hype Bros, is starting to possibly start to gel and start to work for him. So, because the Hype Bros are starting to get really over on the Full Sail University crowd. Now, whether or not that can transition into the main roster is yet another story. Speaking of that, the Ascension would end up answering Jason Jordan and Chad Gable's challenge for a matchup, and it's going to be happening next week. And you even addressed a little bit about the Ascension looking at LOD and whatnot. And I still wish they could have gone with the way the Ascension originally started in NXT as basically a version of the Brothers of Destruction, a dark style of a tag team. But I think the reason why they're doing the Mad Max thing, Rick, is because of the fact that the Wyatt family kind of beat them to it.
Well, I'm going to tell you, when I saw the Ascension down at NXT, and they didn't, before they had the LOD gear and the face paint, I just thought that hey, these guys are going to be something. These guys have it. When you make them to be somebody else's gimmick, it not only it makes a farce out of them, people just don't look at it like, come on, this is a joke. You can't be taken seriously. Shawn Michaels, said it perfectly. You can't, I was never worrying about being somebody else. I was just worrying about being me. And that's what wrestlers need to be done today. And it's not always their fault. It's usually creative. Because creative just doesn't, back in the day, back in the Attitude Era, they would let them be themselves. And they rose. Case in point, Stone Cold Steve Austin. Before he was the ringmaster.
Oh, yeah. No, after he was the ringmaster.
Well, yes.
Yeah, before the ringmaster, he was stunning. But anyway, back to NXT. Deonna, I'm not even sure who she is, taking on Nia Jax. Nia Jax would just end up completely decimating Deonna and picking up the win. Backstage, apparently Bayley would find Alexa Bliss. Alexa was taking pictures with the NXT Women's Championship. And then before Bayley could get a chance to get it back, she would run into Nia Jax backstage, which then allowed Alexa to sneak attack Bayley from behind. And before Alexa could do anything with the title belt, had to stare down with Nia Jax and end up walking away. And Nia Jax just hands the title back to Bayley on the end of that. So I'll tell you what, would you be shocked, Rick, if they put the women's championship on Nia Jax?
Honestly, no. But I'm gonna be honest with you, and Ms. Jack Shit and I were talking about this last night. There's no way I could see Nia Jax going up to the main roster. She is just too large of a person, of a female, and that's not in a bad case. I mean, she's strong. She's almost like China. Or an Awesome Kong, and the problem is they never really fit in the WWE Divas roster because everybody on the WWE Divas roster is 110 pounds plus, if that.
Yeah, case in point, the lack of a successful run for Karma in WWE. Now, I don't think that's necessarily her fault because of the timing about especially when she made the announcement that she was pregnant and whatnot. So I don't think that's necessarily her fault that she couldn't have because I don't think she even had one match in WWE. I think she was just more of run-ins and whatnot.
Yeah, she was in the Battle Royal and it didn't last that long. And again, another big person. It's just there's so many of the ladies who tried to get into the WWE and just didn't make it. And it is what it is. And unfortunately, she's one of those odd people out that will try to get up to the roster but won't go far.
The NXT Tag Team Championship online, the Vaudevillians taking on Dash and Dawson. Now, for the longest time, I've always kind of accredited NXT Creative, and especially with what they've done as of late, with their programs, except for one spot that it's so overly done. It's ridiculous. 80% of the match, Aiden English took the heat, especially on his leg. and he made the hot tag to Simon Gotch. Gotch started working over Dash and Dawson, and then not 2 minutes later does he tag back in Aiden English. And as soon as that happened, that automatically screamed, we're going to have new tag team champions. And lo and behold, that's what happened with Dawson locked on and inverted figure four leg lock on Aiden English to pick up the win. So now Dash and Dawson, who I like to term the new era, or the NXT Wrecking Crew, in reference to the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, Ole and Arn Anderson, are your new tag team champions. And you know what? I don't want to say NXT made a mistake with the way they did the match because of the fact that NXT has been doing so well as of late, Rick. So I really don't want to say too much of a bad thing about what they did, because overall it was still a pretty good match, except for that one predictable spot.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I think it was far too predictable.
The plug came undone.
And it was far too predictable. So, as you said, but you know what? I have to give it to Dash and Dawson. I think they're a great tag team, and the Vaudevillains gimmick for me just isn't over with me.
Well, when they were heel, in my personal opinion, when they were heel, I was kind of considering the name of them to kind of fit the gimmick, because they were heel and they were like villains, so Vaudevillains. But now that they're face and they're just kind of like straight vaudeville type of gimmick. If you guys remember vaudeville, if you even look it up, some of the wacky, insane kind of things they did fit vaudeville, and that's what vaudeville was about. And that's pretty much how Simon Gotch and Aiden English are taking the vaudeville gimmick, or the vaudevillain gimmick rather, and trying to make it work for them. And that's one of the things that that we've learned in the past, especially from the classic wrestling manager Joseph Knight, has said, when you're given a gimmick in WWE, regardless if it's WWE or NXT, you got to learn to run with it. And I think Aiden English and Simon Gotch, in my opinion, have learned to run with it. But I think we need to get to one of the things that I think a lot of the fans out there were wanting to see is Samoa Joe's reason for why he attacked Finn Balor last week on NXT. And basically, that was kind of predictable in itself, because half the time, whenever Samoa Joe turns on someone, it's always because of a championship. I mean, he did it so many times in TNA, especially when it pertains to the X Division Championship or the Tag Team Championship or even the World Heavyweight Championship. He was quick to turn on the dial. And Samoa Joe, honestly, to me, Rick, plays a more convincing heel than face.
You know what? I have to agree with you there. I've always been a big fan of Samoa Joe, no matter what he did. But as a heel, yeah, and not to mention, he could his mic skills are incredible. When he grabs that mic, he captures the crowd. And what he had to say about, how you could take action or not take action. I forget the whole, process of the thing, but it made all the sense in the world, because he did have that title shot, and then of course he was taken away from him, and Finn Balor did nothing about it. Finn Balor's just like, oh, okay, and now he has his reason to go after the title afterwards. So it's something I definitely want to see.
And one would possibly speculate the match to take place at their next takeover special, which I believe is NXT Takeover London. I'm not sure as to when it'll exactly take place. I don't think they even made the announcement. I think they only made the announcement that Motorhead will be submitted their classic song Ace of Spades. This is how much I know about Motorhead. They've done Triple H's the game theme and the King of Kings theme. That's it.
The Ace of Spades, I'm going to tell you, I am a fan of Motorhead before I heard any Triple H songs. And the Ace of Spades is their classic. That's just one of their classic songs of many. And Motorhead, when I heard that, I'm like, oh, yeah. But now, to be honest with you, total off the subject, I think that should have been the Aces and Eights song.
Yeah, I remember we had didn't we have a discussion about that on HWR? I think we did. I'm not even sure. It's either was on HWR or we had it off recording on both of our shows, but I think we did discuss that just a little bit. But anyway, guys and gals, overall score on NXT this week, it's going to be a 3.5 out of 5. It definitely was a good show. I'm gonna give my best match of the night to the 6-person tag match. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was quite entertaining, and especially for the spot where Murphy took the Bayley to belly from Bayley. I thought that was actually really well done, and the crowd reaction to that was really something. So that's why I'm going to give it to that. Worst spot of the night is going to be the predictability of the tag team title match, especially when Aiden English gets worked over 80% of the match on his leg, and then about 2 minutes later is he tagged back in, and that just screamed that they were dropping the titles. Now, did they do this to possibly prolong a feud between Dawson and the Vaudevillians? Maybe they could possibly use the tag team championship to sustain a feud and a rivalry between these two teams. They can have like back and forth matches where they drop the titles to each other, because right now they really don't have a diverse tag team roster on NXT, to be honest, and it's kind of almost going the way of TNA when it comes to their tag team division. But then again, that's just my personal opinion. Let's go over to Rick, get his personal opinion in the form of his overall score and his picks for best and worst match or segment of NXT.
Well, last week I gave it a 4, and I was really truly impressed with NXT. This week, I got to be honest with you, I wasn't super overly impressed. There were some good spots, but there seemed to be more squash matches this week than anything else. If I have to give the best segment, I have to give it to the Samoa Joe Finn Balor segment. That was really good. It really pushed the feud forward a little bit more. And again, also with the Apollo Crews and Baron Corbin, feud. That was probably one of the two best spots, and they weren't even matches. But the rest of the matches, I just wasn't impressed with. That's just my personal thought.
But anyway, guys and gals, what we want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, your personal thoughts, your opinions, your thoughts on NXT this week. What are your overall scores? What are your picks for best and worst match or segment of NXT this week? Definitely want to hear what you guys out there have to say. You should put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Rick, where can fans check you out on HWR?
Well, if you want to listen to any of our podcasts, we got tribute videos, shoot videos, and much more. Check us out over at youtube.com/HWR show. But if you want to join in the conversation, head on over to Facebook in the group sections under the name HWR Chat Room. We let you say what you want, how you want to say it, so long as it's about wrestling.
WGS-TV is on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can ask me questions, as you guys can hear the phone going off, so I have to hurry up and get off. The links will be provided in the description box below, and as always, guys and gals, I'll have a couple of videos in the annotations at the end of this video for you guys to check out as well. So with that being said, for the hardcore host of Hardcore Wrestling Radio, Rick Head, I'm the Wrestle Gamer. WWENXT Boudreaux, and we'll see ya at the next Warp Zone. Well, you tricked us. Uh-oh. Oh my god. Anyway, maybe switch to Japanese from here on out. Sure, I understand. And let's start again. Makoto and Akira, I look forward to getting